So, to refresh, we're XL15. We're a cobalt transmuter. We started off thinking we were going to go after transmutation. And then what happened is that we found some bomb-ass weapons. So we've basically been using those with no weapon skill. And we're still owning it. Mostly because we have a high level of fighting. And they have good slaying bonus. And we have slaying on our armor. Meanwhile, we've been training unarmed combat. And we don't really have an end game. Our +7 scimitar is good, but it's not win the game good. We could if we really needed to, but we would need other things. So in our search for other things, we found the inescapable Atlas, which grants us storm form. So we're just going to put everything towards air magic. And then hopefully by the time we are thinking about getting towards the end of one of these layer branches, we have storm form in sight. You know, maybe we have to get some extra intelligence or wizardry, but it should be pretty close. We should be able to get there. And who knows, we might find something else in the meantime. So anyway. Let's see what is down deeper in the dungeon. One other thing we could do is we could wear this buckler. It's not enchanted, which kind of sucks, but we could. It would give us 5 or 6 shield rating at least. Alright, so we just did a tabbed storm right here, which was pretty deleterious for us. We're going to have to use a teleport scroll. And we're going to have to run away. Okay, so we need to focus. Alright, after this song, I'm gonna cut the stream. Fair warning. The outside is calling, the trees and leaves and birds, the air and earth, the water shared by all. There's a calling. So, into this song, it's outside time. Dang, those ugly things are pretty strong. Can resist. I guess we could do the Orcish Mines. That's kind of about the time that it is. There's a late Orcish Mines. So our air magic, don't really have a whole lot that we can use. Let's go ahead and let's memorize Swiftness. That could be useful. And let's just get air magic a little higher before we start worrying about anything else. I take that back. Let's start on spellcasting, and let's get spellcasting up to 7. But we'll focus air magic. And we had a bit of a ride today, went out. So time to go out again. And this probably wraps up the first segment of this Kobold Transmuter. The second segment, I guess, will be Orcish Mines. That's where we'll start it. So, time will tell if I'll be back exactly tonight. I have a feeling that might not happen. Might be good to put some time. We made some pretty serious progress. So, thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye, said no one. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the stream. We are XL15. We're a Kobold Transmuter. We are currently studying lots and lots of air magic, and we need experience. So we're going to dip into the Orcish Mines. Our resistances at the moment give us resist corrosion, fire, and cold. We have some slay, some regen, but we will lose the slay when we go into a form. Hello, Sateric. And we're back. By tomorrow evening, we should have clips on the YouTube channel. In fact, the whole last run will be up by tomorrow evening. Whoa, our box of beasts, our mature firebat beast, just like two-shotted that orc knight. Wow, it has fire breath, 3d30. That was stupid effective. If we weren't rushing air magic to try and get Stormform, that would be, yeah, we're nowhere close. We need lots more air magic. Pretty happy with the power level of that beast, though. Alright, so we got shafted. We're now on Orc 2. We do have a scroll of magic mapping. It's a good thing we trained our stealth a little bit. Okay, so we basically got teleported right near the very hardest part. We could go up to the north and use a dig. Otherwise, we have to go all the way back around. Let's see. Does it get any easier if we go into one of these corners?
Riku and me all the time. We played together on that island. His voice always used to be there. And now it's gone. I can't think of his face or his name. I feel awful.
Alright, I was hoping to aim the dig so that we would get a one tile wide entrance. Looks like we succeeded. We rushed the Cyclops. We're still using this scimitar that we haven't trained any weapon skill on. It probably has similar damage to our unarmed, but as I said, we're kind of barreling towards air magic at the moment. And I think we have wizardry available to us. Nope. That was on a scroll of acquirement. So we have never had a streak before. We've never had a 3-streak before. It probably helps that we're basically playing the same character. I feel pretty comfortable in starting transmuters. It just depends on like actually being able to get the spells that you want. So we're doing a little bit of a bumpy transition. Stormform is really good, and it's suitable for a kobold. Alright, so we were safely able to get back, and we auto-explored right into Jorgrun. Yorgrun Earthshaker, who can cast some pretty dangerous spells. So we're basically gonna run away, and we're hoping that he never ever gets up and walks around. So let's not do anything especially noisy. Alright, well let's go down the Orcish Mines. Yeah, so we had a bit of a skill quandary. We ended up buying a book that had Oringa's Noxious Bog and Alistair's Intoxication, and we were basically gonna say, if nothing else, let's just do that, because we hadn't found any forms. So we picked up a little bit of poison magic, and then we switched gears when we found the air magic, and then now we're switching gears again. And this actually is more holistic. The fact that we're bringing our transmutations up is gonna make certain things castable that will help us. We'll just need to make sure to get plenty of spell casting. At some point we'll need to turn unarmed combat back on. But we're not going to do that quite yet. We're going to at least get transmutations to match it. But anyhow, so that's Book of the Dragon. Too bad we don't have the gold for whatever this is. The +10 Zealot Sword. It's a one-handed U-Demon Blade. It's +10. It's holy. It has random rage, and if you're a summoner, it also sends your allies into a rage. So that's pretty cool, but we don't have enough money for that. So we're not going to buy that. +12 plate armor. Cool, not for us. Scale mail of willpower. Cool, but not for us. So it looks like what we're gonna do is we're gonna get ourselves the Book of the Dragon. And then we'll load up on some potions. How many potions do we have? We have a lot of curing. But haste at 110 gold, magic at 88. Haste is pretty useful. And we don't know cancellation, so let's get one of those in haste. That clears us out of gold. We spent tons of gold calling merchants to try and get a book. We called like 4 different merchants, and we still didn't find any transmutation form. The best thing we found were the transmutation poison spells. But it's good to pick up those ranks, eventually we'll want them. Alright, so I guess we're gonna exit the bazaar, considering we have no money. So these ogres can do some nasty damage to us, especially when they're hasted right next to us. Ugh. Can we charm one? Can we charm the hasted one? Yeah. Alright. Let's just wait until it's not hasted anymore. I don't know, go over there. No, seriously, go over there. Alright, cool. So this is why it's good that we trained up our evasion. So let's go down, let's just keep doing it. Alright, another music change. We need something a little more relaxing. And we need to make sure that we're keeping ourselves hydrated. Keeping ourselves hydrated. So, I know Auto Explorer kind of shoved us into this place, but we really need to get out. Need to explore around and make sure that we know what's safe and what's not, as we may end up needing to use teleport. Luckily for us, it seems by and large pretty safe. Probably because all of the enemies are inside. It's probably just totally packed with enemies waiting. Kind of what it looks like to me. Okay, there we go. We can always make a little murder hole. That's not too bad of an idea. We'll just wait and see if any enemies come if we really need to. Kind of starting to look like maybe, yeah, but... Alright, so we already reached as far as we can dig, so we actually can't really get away. We could use a potion of attraction, but we're currently vulnerable to... Yeah, we would have to just dig straight down. So that's what we'll do. Doesn't help much, but it's better. So that's a great question about Auto Explore. I'm not aware of the Explore Wall bias value. Seems like that would be a good thing to check up in the documentation. Are you familiar with what that setting does? Because mine's whatever the default is. So those dispersal traps were kind of scary, but honestly, they kind of helped us. So at the Armor Emporium, we have Gloves of Stealth. Cool. We have a Scroll of Acquirement, Scroll of Fear, Potion of Haste, an embroidered cloak, some glowing gloves, a scarf, a bunch of curing, might, and mutation. That probably does it for the shops. So our intellect is pretty awful. What can we do for that? It's a pretty baller intellect ring. Gives us resist cold, which we'll want eventually. So Let's go ahead. Let's see if we can put that on our shopping list. Yeah, we're definitely going to need more intellect to be able to cast Dragon Form. We know we're close. So let's get our transmutations higher. And let's get our spellcasting higher. It opens up the Elven halls, but that would be a bad idea. Maybe not that bad of an idea. We can probably do some cleanup. We have resist corrosion, so let's go back to Dungeon 7. Okay, so we have ice beasts, we have a centaur, we have a white imp, we'll have a player ghost somewhere in there, we have a necrophage. We should be able to take this. What's our resist cold like? Can we make it any better? Not really. Seems like a famous last word type of thing. But we have resist corrosion, we have resist cold. The centaur can probably wreck us. Should we haste? I think we'll be alright. So we got our heal wounds. We're gonna fight the necrophage one by one. Where's our exit? All the way down there? Okay, well, let's make our way. So we're going to do the trick where we forget the map and then auto-explore again before we enter in this thing with the door. We can get two-headed ogres now, not too bad. Well, we have enough to buy a manual. We have several manuals available to us. In fact, we have a manual of transmutations that we can buy once we get 1360 gold. So let's try and do that because we have 1289. We're basically at 1360. We will be after this fall. It's kind of a shame to go transmutations because we found this great weapon, but we haven't had to spend much experience, so that's nice. Yeah, Manual of Transmutations. Boom. Look at that. Now it only costs 6. Ha ha ha. We're gonna be high level transmutation. No time at all. We still do have 8 spell levels left. Dragon Form is at 91. And, yeah. This seems like it's working out pretty well. We have not explored Dungeon 13 yet. So let's go back to Dungeon 8. We can clear the annotation. And Dungeon 9, we didn't have anything. Dungeon 10, we had something to clean up. Okay, this should be no problem. We have a Zephyrmancer, which might be, but I think we'll be okay. Veda. They are a little beefier, that's for sure. We don't really have anything to cast on them. If things don't go well, and there's really no rush, we don't really need the experience. You know, it's, what are they, 50% to hit us? And they hit for up to 35 damage. They have high evasion, high armor class. Let's not deal with that right now. Dungeon 13, Ugly Thing Vault entrance. Let's go back to Lair because we can handle Hydras now. So we excluded it in the very beginning, and we'll just come to the edge of line of sight as an Ice Beast. We'll Mind Burst it, get its health a little lower. No problem. So here we have a Catoblepus and a Hydra kind of like right next to each other. Which isn't super good, but we can handle it. Might have to use Box of Beasts. Yeah, we're gonna have to use Box of Beasts. So we gotta step out of the calcifying dust. gonna go ahead and turn unarmed combat back on. It's a little silly, but yeah, the thing that's really gonna help us the most is the dragon form. But it just feels wrong to keep it turned off for so long. Especially because we're not even using it, so we don't even know, we don't have a sense for what her power is like. But we need to get dragon form castable as soon as possible. Alright, talk myself out of it. And then we had a bunch of elephants around here. I don't really remember exactly what was going on there, because it looks like they're gone. Let's make sure. Yeah, they're gone, alright. Okay, so we could poke our head into Shoals. That doesn't sound fun. Snake probably is better. We can pick up some poison resistance. So I'll play for a little bit longer. Let's indeed go in the snake pit. See what's there. Josephine, the Decaying Necromancer. They cast Ghostly Fireball, which will do a ton of damage. And the thing to be particularly concerned about here is that wraiths will slow you and make everything take 50% more. So you try to act 2 times, monsters act 3 times. That's pretty bad. It would be nice if we had a better stabbing bonus right now. And in fact, I'm going to switch to the short sword, and then we can one-shot the wraith. We were not lucky enough to be able to get next to Josephine, and that's doing a ton of damage to us. So now we have the staircase kind of dangerous. We could pick up that resist cold, resist negativity ring. Do we have money for that? No, we don't. And we won't for a while. We have fear. We could summon stuff, Phantom Mirror, Condenser Bane. I don't know. I think we exclude it for now. And again, we can probably take them, but we only have 100 HP. Shoals is going to be even harder. So it's kind of looking like we're going to go into the Elven halls, but let's take a look at Shoals. Alright, got ourselves a nice stab on the snapping turtle. We did have a Ring of Flight that would be worth putting on. Okay, so there was a Windrake. It's blowing us all over the place. So this Siren can cast Siren Song. We're pretty vulnerable to it. It makes it so that we can't run away. So if we don't have a summon or anything to attack at range, or fog that will break line of sight, we're in rough shape trying to find it. Okay, so it was bad to see these centaurs. We're gonna go ahead and use Ice Blast. And then the other one can basically go pound sand. Alright, now we can rage it. Hey, centaur, are you flying? No, centaur is not flying. The embroidered cloak could be excellent. Like, it could be preservation and give us corrosion resistance. It could be stealth. It could be invisibility. I don't think cloaks give you resistance anymore. I think those are scarves. It could be a cloak of a single resist. That's something that's probably pretty important for us to get. We're also looking at this ring, dual resist with 4 intellect. The 4 intellect is nice. That'll get us, 3 or 4% spell success right there. And when we go into dragon form, we'll be susceptible to cold, so the extra cold resist is nice. If it had resist fire, it would be godly. And then we would be buying it for sure. I think we're gonna buy it. Merfolk Avatar, those are pretty scary. Basically anything that summons lots of other enemies is bad. It also mesmerizes you. So, hey, this song, I know this song. This song means we're coming up at the end of the stream. In fact, it means we're at the end of the stream. So we're going to do a quick recap as we listen to the video game players, that's the name of the artist, while we listen to their cover of the Moon theme from DuckTales for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So we're fighting some pretty strong resistance in Shoals and Spider. Unfortunately, these are where we need to go. We need to get more experience. We need to level up. We need to get intellect. And if we can manage to do those things, we found a manual, we bought a manual of transmutations, then we'll be able to get dragon form up and running. Already, we've taken it down to 78%, So we're just going to funnel experience towards dragon form, hope to pick up some gear. And we'll be updating Twitch tomorrow with a link to the YouTube. The whole previous Demigod Transmuter run will be up in 7 different parts. There might be an 8th part that I forgot, but, you know, we'll just have to deal with it. So, thanks for crawling with us. And we'll see you live some other time. Goodbye, Soteric, and said no one. Greetings and salutations. What's up, Twitch and YouTube? We are a level 16 Kobold Transmuter. We find ourselves in the Shoals. We peeked our head in the snake pits, and there was an unhappy pack there. So that's why we're in Shoals. Go as far as we can, and then we're probably going to try and go somewhere else. What we're really hoping is to get some experience. We bought a manual of transmutations, and we're kind of rushing towards that right now. We have dragon form at 78%, not very good. So we're going to need several more levels in transmutations. Any stat gains that we get are going to go towards intellect, and otherwise we're going to hope to find some sort of wizardry ring, intelligence ring, anything that'll help spellcasting success. So without further ado, let's just dive on in. So on this character, we had some interesting fortune. We found some pretty good weapons early on. On level 2 of the dungeon, we found a +8 short sword. And then on level 7 of the dungeon, we found an acquirement scroll, and we got a +7 scimitar. Now, one thing is that this short sword has +7 int, so that's going to give us about 15% better spell success from 78 down to 63. So that's kind of like our backup, is that we'll switch to that weapon to get dragon form castable if we really need to. And we might, actually. We really need dragon form to be able to take out strong enemies, because aside from that, we're basically just playing ice form and spider form. We've got a condenser vein, phantom mirror, box of beasts, and our evocations are okay. Not overwhelming, but they're pretty okay. Once we get dragon form up, we're gonna want to turn evocations back on more than likely, unless we find something else that'll help us. We have gotten pretty fortunate on the evocables. We bought some pretty early on in the game after following Gozak, and we got a bunch of Mind Burst, a bunch of Charming, Digging, Light, Condenser Vein. So that's really kind of the only way we can kill things, to be honest. The reduced line of sight and the stealth we picked up is going to make it a little easier to explore, but we only need one thing to wake up and start making noise, and then we gotta book it. So the reason why we have this excluded down here is because we've got a siren, and we really don't want to be mesmerized. Not right now. If we knew that we were only going to fight one thing, it'd be okay, but we don't know that. So we found our requirement scroll already, so I'm not super into diving in and getting that, but it could be a scroll of summoning, and that would be pretty good. That's kind of my guess, actually. Alright, so we woke up the fawns, and our magic resistance is not very good. And they can also strip willpower. So that scroll is unlikely to be the reason why we win a fight. So we're going to use this Wand of Flame on the fawns, because they're probably going to stand there and shoot stuff at us. Greetings, said no one. And we really want to take the fighting as far away as possible. We don't want to engage too many things. And then speaking of things we don't want to engage, there's that siren. We probably don't need to Ice Blast. And in fact, we're pretty close to melee, so we're just going to go ahead and go on in. Let's make sure they're not wearing anything crazy. Alright, cool. So we can just smack it a few times and we'll be alright. So I really like that they changed the way that water works. We're not on deep water, but it used to be if items fell in deep water, they'd be gone forever. Oh, it's Scroll of Fog. Well, that's a nice one. So this Javelineer had, or whatever it was, had a freezing brand. We do have a single resist cold, but I think we're probably better off to go into ice form, just to make sure. These things are actually really dangerous. So we're just gonna go away. So one thing that we are able to do to boost our damage output in kobold form is to cast Beastly Appendage. We don't really lose a whole lot when we do that. I mean, sure, we lose 3 armor, but we're getting about 3 or 4 slay from it. Or I should say the equivalent of the slay. It's not actually slay, but we get the auxiliary attacks. So we actually have kind of decent damage output. It's just our survivability, and then that's kind of commingled with what the overarching problem is. Like, we have a decent damage output, we have decent defenses, but if we come across something scary, we don't really have an out. I mean, we can use Might or Haste or something, or Berserk Rage, and we do have several of those consumables at our disposal. But it would be nice to not have to rely on them, and once we get Dragon Form, we'll be able to rely on that. So again, because we're stealthy and we have reduced line of sight, we're able to do, you know, this scouting mission to see, is there anything else around this avatar? Like, there's a Merfolk Impaler. That's pretty bad. I've nearly died to these before because they attack extremely quickly. So in this span of time it takes you to swing once or twice, they're hitting you 2 or 3 times. So overall, this is not really a scary Shoals level, but it's scary for this character at the moment, and we're just trying to get the easy experience. We can always go into Elf, and we'll get some easy experience there. Well, it's a dangerous experience, but it's easy enough. Compared to what we're fighting now, at least. So the Water Nymph on its own is probably not a concern, but a lot of times enemies spawn in packs. So we just took a crap ton of damage. Water Strike 3d17. So we probably should not have gone in. They can't one-shot us anymore. So I guess we could probably run away. Just one tile. We could try and charm them, that's not gonna work. We could try and Mind Burst them, but that's probably not gonna work. It's probably gonna take 2 or 3 hits to kill it, so we really shouldn't stand in the water. Oh, and that's right, they also emanate water. Okay, so let's just go ahead and use this Wand of Light, and then that'll hopefully confuse them enough. There we go. Yeah, I haven't played with the Wand of Light really that much before, and I like that it's a part of the same item set as Wand of Acid. And Wand of Acid has historically been an amazing wand, but it's mostly amazing when you're up against things that do melee damage or they otherwise have high armor class. So the addition of Wand of Light kind of gives you kind of this luck, and you're like, well, sometimes you're going to have an easy time fighting plate armor people, and sometimes you're going to have an easier time fighting spellcasters, and Wand of Light against the spellcaster is great. it's arguably way better than acid is against melee. So this is interesting that this Windrake chased us and then kind of gave up. That's a good sign that our stealth is doing its job. Although in this instance it would have been nice to continue to engage it. So this is a note to ourselves to not let things get too far out of our line of sight if we're trying to kite them. So this staircase, even though it looks like it might be something difficult, is actually becoming kind of a little bit of a safe space for us. We're going to explore this other island just to make sure there's nothing like waiting right there. Otherwise, we're going to poke our heads down into Shoals too. So we got a Siren with the Spear of Venom, which is not awesome, but it doesn't look like there's anything else around. So we're gonna go for it. Arguably, we could turn off our spell casting. You know, we have enough mana, and we really do want the experience to go to dragon form. Kind of some of the thought is that we picked up these transmutation poison spells, like Aringia's Noxious Bog. Where's the other one we picked up? Did we memorize it? We did memorize it. Alistair's Intoxication. Yeah, so that's actually pretty good. I think because of that, we're gonna get spellcasting still. Maybe we turn it off a little bit at 7 or something, but it's just that we really do need dragon form as soon as possible. And any experience we put in spellcasting is not going to help as much. So let's stop spellcasting at 7 for now. It would be nice to get Blink. That could save us. Confusing Touch could save us. And we could get Blink castable, you know, just by putting like 1 or 2 levels into translocation. Yeah, we're just gonna keep spellcasting the way it is. And hope we don't need Blink. We only have 2 scrolls. That's not very good. But we're gonna run in and we're gonna try and get this Siren killed. Yes, we really are in a lair branch, using a long blade with no long blade training. We just kind of keep it up a little bit longer and then we'll have dragon form. We won't have to worry about it. And we won't have to worry about it. Our damage output with this scimitar is better than the short sword. So, yeah, I guess we'll go to Shoals 2. Honestly, I'm kind of scared about Shoals 2. But we could probably get enough experience to take our dragon form to get maybe closer to 50%. We still have some areas to clear here, but again, we're after the easy experience. We still have Elf that we can go to. You may actually think, and somewhat rightly, you may actually think that Shoals is not a safe experience, and you'd be correct. Yeah, the evasion does help. It kind of sucks that we don't have any shield whatsoever. We do have a buckler we could wear. What does that do with our attack delay? Doesn't change our attack delay. It didn't even change our evasion, did it? No, it didn't even change our evasion. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wear the buckler. And then we'll take it off when we need to for Dragon Farm. Nice, that's a pretty good win. That's gonna help our survivability. So this hog here is probably a sign that Kirky's nearby. They have a pretty decent amount of HP. So right now we're probably at about 20 DPS or so. Porculator, kind of the good thing about Porculator is that at least you can move quickly. Not really so much if you get slowed. So I'm just going to exclude some of the areas nearby, just in case. And then we're going to try another staircase. Get porked. Oh shit. I really don't want to fight a big merfolk pack, especially there's a sea snake there. And these are all enemies that we can take individually. That's not the bad part. We can probably get this sea snake. We're going to have to go into ice form. We don't have any resist poison, and plus it's vulnerable to cold. Sorry, it's not vulnerable to cold, it's cold-blooded, and that is an important distinction. So, that's what we'll do. And it won't take long, because we did train up our unarmed combat instead of a weapon skill. Kind of an odd leveling plan, but it worked. Okay, good. They have a throwing net, but they don't have a spear or a fire weapon. There is a merfolk impaler. We gotta be super, super careful with that, because again, they can attack multiple times per one of our attacks. So that staircase is out. And let's try the third one. Another impaler. Yeah, 33 damage plus Vorpal. It's 1 out of 3 to hit us, and then it attacks a lot. There's nothing in this book that's gonna really change us, so we'll exclude that staircase, and we're gonna consider Shoals to be cleared enough for now. I think probably we could go back to Snake 1. I don't really remember that being particularly difficult. It's just that there was kind of a swarm of enemies. And then there was also Josephine and Wraiths and a Mana Viper. What I'm kind of hoping though, is that the enemies have dispersed a little bit, and they might not have, but that's what I'm hoping. Wow, we even excluded it. Damn. Was it really that bad? Was it really that bad? Should we haste ourselves? I really don't think it was that bad. I guess it could be. If it is, we probably won't get one-shotted. Okay. So that's kind of bad. But we at least can come up here, and then we can charm this Black Mamba, and then we can go into ice form, and we really have no problem because these are all cold-blooded. Thanks for helping us, Black Mamba. I'm sorry, it feels bad, but you gotta go too. So Is there anything we can do to help with resist negativity? We have a lignification. That would be a cruel, cruel death. To die in tree form on the stairs because we couldn't retreat. But it would also be cruel to die to slow. But our evasion's pretty good. So I'm gonna let's take a look. Let's see if we can get a couple wraiths. Hey, there we go. And our damage output's pretty good against these enemies. So let's rest off that slow. Let's go down in ice form. Whoa, Josephine. Josephine coming up with the big old ghastly fireballs. I'm kind of tempted if... Well, let's just see. Alright, let's come up here where it's a little safer. Go into ice form, kill the Mamba. And then we'll kill Josephine. That was pretty uneventful. It's exactly what we need, though. We need uneventful. We're wearing pretty good armor. It's Slay 5 and resist corrosion, but a robe of willpower... Wait, we can't carry it? What are we carrying? Okay. So I see what we're carrying. We're carrying some armor that we don't need. We're gonna drop the enchant armor and the enchant weapon. We'll drop the amnesia, because we probably won't need that, like, on short notice. We're wearing this ring of flight, and now that we're not in Shoals, let's swap it out for the resist poison. What other rings do we have? We do have a ring of resist negativity, and then we have several shops. Yeah, there we go. Cold negativity and 4 int. That's not bad. Alright, so anyhow, we cleared this snake entrance, so let's go a little deeper. And it's really a lot better to wear resist poison than flight, especially in snake. One thing that's really important to remember for the snake pit, is you can get this false sense of security because the Nagas can die pretty easily. And you can also outrun them, but they also constrict, and then there are also several enemies that you really don't want to have to fight in packs, like guardian serpents. You really don't want to have to fight those. The Naga ritualists will strip away your poison resist. And Naga mages got a new buff somewhat recently that turns their venom into curare, basically, and they can haste. So things can turn very, very quickly. You get yourself slowed or constricted. Nagas have a lot of HP. Sometimes you can chew through them quickly, but my point is that it can be a little deceiving. Ooh, we got shock serpents. Oh no. Okay, so we're gonna mind blast it, and we probably don't need another one, but we're getting hit for 20 damage. They're bouncing bolts off of us. I mean, we can retreat here and then they can't bounce anymore. But they're still doing, like, a lot. Yeah, I mean, we found pretty good spells. After we finished Dragon Form, I mean, we could go for Manifold Assault. We haven't done that on our other transmuters, even when they were available. And I think for a Kobold, it's probably a good idea, since we're much less tanky. But we'll think about that when the time comes. Yeah, we don't want to get the attention of this sharpshooter. We might. Here's the constriction and the Naga making noise. That could have been a recipe for a bad fight. So the condenser vein play here is probably unnecessary, but we're not going to risk it. The main strategy to think about is, how do you get out of an encounter with overwhelming force? Like, the goal is not to survive, the goal is to thrive. So if you're like, yeah, I think I can take them, what you really need to ask yourself is, how do I take them without taking a bunch of damage? So that's what led us to do the condenser vein. You know, turn a corner and we have 3 black mambas and a Naga ritualist. Not a great combo. And the condenser vein will recharge a little slowly because we're fighting things not worth a lot of experience, but it's better than using, you know, a fear or a blink or something like that. So we used the edge of our line of sight to make sure that there wasn't anything around this Naga, and it turns out there was. We were able to swap to our short blades, sneak around and stab them. This way is blocked off due to Roxanne, and there's really no point of engaging Roxanne. There's nothing for us to gain. There actually is something for us to gain, but we're not interested in earth magic at the moment. So if we were, like, if we were training earth magic and we're like, oh man, we just don't have the power, we need to be able to do more, then going after Roxanne would be a wiser move. I like the lore of Roxanne. There's a catastrophic spell failure that turned them into a living statue, and now they're bound in the snake pits. So, yeah, if we were doing earth magic or conjurations, their spell book is actually at their feet, and it's full of really, really difficult spells. So it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference to, hey, here are all these powerful spells, and also you got them because you defeated Roxanne, who failed to cast them. So we've got an Anaconda, a non-ritualist, and a Black Mamba, which isn't great. So we're going to go ahead and use Box of Beasts and then go into Ice form. Because unsurprisingly, there were more enemies. And actually, let's go ahead and charm one of these Black Mambas too. We can't swap with our Box of Beasts because the Anaconda's constricting them. The Anaconda's basically taken out the Box of Beasts, which is kind of scary. But that was a good play because we're at basically max HP, and then we took out that threat. Our dragon form is very close to castable. But it's our leather armor and our shield that's holding us back. Which is kind of interesting, right? We're at 45% right now, but if we go into ice form, then it's at 24%. So we really don't need that much more experience in order to be able to cast it. Which is fantastic news. Let's stop our spell casting at 8, and then let's take transmutations at least to 16. And we'll get there a little more quickly. So we just need a little more experience. Probably have to clear Snake 1 and some of Snake 2. I really don't like using all these Mind Bursts, but I think we can take the Shock Serpent. As long as we're not getting the bolts bounced on us. And we do. It only takes like 3 or 4 turns. So we could, if it got us into dragon form, we could swap out our body armor. We lose the resist corrosion, we lose the 5 slay, but we would get dragon form, which is like way better, like hands down. So let's just make sure there aren't any artifact robes. Okay, we're gonna look for ego robes. And we get that robe of willpower. That's probably our best bet to wear. I don't know. It doesn't really matter once we're in a form. And we're doing kind of okay with our long blades. And stabbing and stuff. I really like having this sleigh to fall back on, because it is like the way we're doing damage in kobold form. Well, we basically explored this whole place. So let's see what's up in Snake 2. Ooh, it's a little scary. Oh, we have an ice cave. Oh, and we don't have magic mapping. Ice cave is pretty dangerous, but we have ice form, which means we have all the resist cold we could want. There are bound to be some difficult enemies in there, though, and I'm not sure we can take them. We can maybe take them with dragon form, but the thing is, dragon form takes away our cold resist. So we'd have to hope that we found some cold resist ring early on. That's interesting. So we're going to explore around and try to be as safe as possible, and then we're going to wait. As soon as we hear the ice cave, where it might be, if it's very distant like it is right now, then we're just going to go up these stairs and we're going to go down another set of stairs, especially because it's so few turns away. So now, unfortunately, this, if it says it's very distant, then it doesn't really help us, but maybe we can get lucky and it says it's an ice cave nearby. It says distant. So it could be to the left of us, it could be the way we're going right now. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this Naga. And then run away from this shock serpent. Let's exclude it just in case. It's not going to be in that door. We have a salamander here to kill. Ugh. How far away is this other set of stairs? Let's try that. Dang, it's not any closer. We're very distant over here, and it was distant over there, so we're gonna have to go back down this staircase over here. And we have a Nagaraja right here. This is where rushing in can kill you. So the thing is, this ice cave is already making a lot of progress towards closing. They're on a timer. You have to get there quickly. So let's hope it's this way. If it's not this way, we wouldn't have been able to get there anyway. Ugh. It's very distant. Means it's probably not right here. Just keep running into these dead ends. We could probably loop around there. Maybe this connects down here. We can hope. I don't normally like to open doors, but we are kind of chasing this ice cave. We could do some blind digs. We might if this doesn't go anywhere. Sometimes the ice caves are in these little rooms. Alright, let's go ahead and memorize dragon form. We're at 22%. If we take off our shield, we're at 16%, and with our scimitar, 26%. So I think we're going to leave the shield off and just remember that we're vulnerable. And then with the shield off, that means we can always switch. Let's check our resistance just to make sure we know. Oh, dang. We're going to have to use a potion of cancellation. We only have a single one. The thing is that yellow contamination is 4 out of 5 times going to give you a bad mutation. The cancellation, yeah, we'll use it. It probably wouldn't have been a game-changing mutation, but I don't want to deal with it. Hey, we got a melting archway nearby. It's loud crackling, which means it's getting close. Overwhelming force, let's ice blast. We really gotta find this ice cave. Alright, cool, we found it. And we go into ice form. Oh, damn. Now would kind of be a good time for a condenser vein. This is really unfortunate. Fear would be good, but we only have a single fear scroll. The condenser vein is more likely to actually help us. So let's get the anaconda. We may end up needing to use this fear scroll anyhow. We're gonna need to use a phantom mirror, probably. Greetings. A phantom mirror on the anaconda is probably good. We can also charm the black mamba. That's worked out well for us. Whoa, we've taken a lot of damage. Yeah, going towards this ice cave, it would be really nice to have the experience, but I think it's just going to be bad for us. The constriction's doing damage, we're getting hit from a lot of different things. Teleport is risky, the fear... Yeah, the fear is our best bet. That sucks. That Naga Ritualist, was it wearing like a fire resist thing? Alright, we're gonna kill this black mamba. We have 2 heal wounds, we have a berserk rage. And let's just see, do we have a clear... Can we just Zerg rush it? We're gonna Zerg rush this ice cave. Oh shit, that was a bad idea. We have to use our teleport scroll now. Man, we were so close. We were so close. We got pretty lucky on the teleport scroll too. Alright, so we missed out on the ice cave. Which is not great. But we're much closer to dragon form, and we haven't died. And if we can get dragon form up, we'll be able to take all these enemies that were giving us problems. You know, like the anaconda has so much HP, but then the constriction gets us. And we are on a win streak right now. This is our first streak, actually. So our prior 2 characters both ascended, and this is the very next 3rd character. So that contamination on Dragon Form kind of halted me a little bit, but since we're already not wearing the shield for the sake of experience... Oh, we can pick up Yara's Violent Unraveling too. That's a bomb spell. So let's keep taking transmutations up. We have a manual, so let's take it at least to 17. Picked up another teleport, nice, because we used one. And we really got pretty hasty trying to chase that ice cave, and really, the sad part is it could have made a big difference in terms of loot. Jewelry is always hard to find, and that's the main thing that's going to help us as a transmuter, but we do have Call Merchant, I guess. We do have some pretty decent rings out there already. Actually, these right here, these 2 rings, if we had 1,500 gold, that would give us a pip of resist cold in Dragon Form, double resist negativity, extra evasion, and resist electric. That still puts resist fire as something we need though. But that Ring of the Butterfly, we probably need that. If we got that right now and wore it instead of Ring of Poison Resistance, we could probably reliably cast Dragon Form. So let's go and pick it up. The other things that we could possibly get, the manuals of course are going to be extremely useful, and we may not really need to spend this gold on this ring right now, but there's not really much downside. The downside is if we find a better ring, and then that money goes nowhere. But it is something that we're gonna need. This music is from a composer by the name of David Arkenstone, and they do a bunch of thematic music. This is actually off one of their compilation albums. Blizzard hired them to do the music for, I don't know if it's every single tavern or inn, but at least for the base game and a few of the expansions, David Arkenstone did the music for World of Warcraft, for the taverns and inns. That's one thing I think Blizzard has done well over the years, is they've hired good artists. But yeah, David Arkenstone, he has like tons and tons of albums. And honestly, if I didn't know, like if I didn't have it in front of me right now, like he has like Celtic music, and I wouldn't know if it was WoW or his other stuff. It's all pretty good. So let's get this ring. The Ring of the Butterfly. I. That alone makes us feel good for buying that. Okay, so we're gonna swap that out with the Poison Resist, and we'll keep the Dexterity. That now puts Dragon Form at 10%, and let's just look at our evasion. If we take this Dex ring off, our EV goes down 2. So let's keep it on for right now. But we can only swap it out for like Corrosion, for example. So because it's a little less critical that we get transmutations up, let's put some more into unarmed combat. We have enough spell schools. We're probably not going to need Aringia's Noxious Bog anytime soon. It would be really good to have, but we need to be comfortable in our casting. That's really the most important thing. So let's go back to the snake pit and let's see how far we can go. So our resist, we naturally get resist fire, 2 pips of that. We get minus resist cold, but it's offset by that ring of the butterfly we just bought. And then we also get resist poison. So it's kind of everything that we need, and then we just one-shotted the Naga Mage. Our spell power is not very high, so we gotta be careful. Especially because we're right around this shock serpent. And we're fighting on the edge of explored territory. Both kind of not good things to do. Hey, potion of heal wounds, not gonna complain there. Alright, let's go after the shock serpent, and then we'll take off this exclusion, because that's probably the same one, but we'll go down to check. Ice Form is still probably best for the ugly things, just because they do bonus cold damage. Damn, there's a lot of them. There was no way we were going to rush in and get this ice cave. That wasn't going to happen. If we had a scroll of magic mapping, it would have been different. It would have been a lot different, because then we would have been able to come down here, or up here maybe, and then we would have used a wand of digging, and then we would have had a nice little hallway to fight them in. But we didn't have magic mapping, and by the time we found it, the timer was running out, and we just got swarmed. So it's really important to not get overwhelmed, and that's why we're trying to explore such that the only new tiles that we see are the very edge of our line of sight. And that means when we see an enemy, we can retreat and fight them one at a time. Because we're a kobold. You know, we'll turn into an ice beast, but we're a little tiny ice beast. And so far this game... Oh, welcome, Verendum. Verendum. Yeah, I've never... I've won once with an octopode. They're really hard to start. Harder than a kobold, for sure. And kobolds can be pretty tricky. The thing is, we really haven't used Gozag's powers much. Like, yeah, sure, the manuals that we found were because of Gozag. And yeah, this ring that we bought was because of Gozag. But we haven't used Potion Petition once. Most of the time we haven't even had enough gold for that because we've been buying things. Tengu, Air Elementalist. Did you get the Anemomancer title? Ooh, Meteorologist. Yeah, so we've got some choices. we're about where we need to be with transmutations. It kind of means that we don't really even need to put intellect. Like, when we hit 18, we're going to get 2 stat points, and probably don't need the intellect. We can probably go dexterity. But in terms of, like, our overall strategy, yeah, said no one. I've always wanted... So I was trying to win an Ice Elementalist for a long time because I wanted to cast Absolute Zero, which is the level 9 Ice Magic spell. And then they replaced Absolute Zero with Polar Vortex, and then they gave Air Elementalist Maxwell's Capacitive Coupling. And then Tornado, that used to be air magic, is now Polar Vortex, so they kind of swapped them. But I've always wanted to play Tornado and Absolute Zero, but anyhow, unrelated. I think it'd probably be pretty fun. How did you I guess you probably just got a lot of you need a lot of spell power for Maxwell's Capacitive Coupling. Oh right, Tengu have +3? Yeah, +3 is very nice. Yeah, so for this character, I mean, we could go more for the hexing fighting. We do have Enfeeble, Summon Mana Viper, Oringa's Noxious Bog, but I think, I mean, we could even go Stormform, but I think probably what we will do is we'll go after Manifold Assault. And then, unfortunately, we didn't find a spellcasting manual. But the translocations, we probably don't need even that much. We can probably get by on like 6 levels of it, and I'll probably make it castable. So we'll see how that works. And then really the only thing that we need to do, like, it would be nice to get statue form. But really, if we have dragon form and we have a really good base of like dodging and fighting and unarmed combat, the only thing really that we gotta do is make sure we can escape. Translocation will help with that if we find Passage of Galubria, but our reduced line of sight, our stealth, and smart playing, I think, can take us a pretty long way. And then when we get into a bad situation, you know, we can Manifold Assault a few times. Cool, Potion of Cancellation. Admittedly, the spell success on Dragon Form is pretty annoying. We might have to swap armor. One thing that I've done on my recent transmuters is I ended up playing a lot of time in the base form, so draconian form or demigod form, and ended up picking up a shield and just straight up, you know, bare hand just whacking on stuff, and it worked out really well. The thing that makes it a little more complicated as a kobold is that we're going to have reduced HP by a lot. And that's kind of what makes me think that Manifold Assault might be better. And then we've got these manuals, like the dodging manual. That'll probably be our first pickup. Unless we happen to find good evocation stuff, but that'll probably be our first move once we have enough gold. We're not there yet. Wow, so we actually did get through Snake 2. Let's see what Snake 3 looks like. And we're gonna preemptively go into Dragon form. Didn't end up being important. Looks pretty empty. We have a self-improvement boutique. Now that's interesting. We have a manual of translocations. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it kind of makes me want to like stop putting experience into it. Okay, but do we really need a manual of translocations? How much does the spell power on Manifold Assault matter? It hits half as many. Oh, I see. In 0.3 they changed it. So right now it attacks 2 to 4 hostile monsters, and then they're changing in the upcoming version that if you use unarmed combat, it hits half the number of targets, so you'll only get 1 to 2. So if we were gonna use Manifold Assault as a transmuter, this is like our chance. And the higher our spell power, the more likely it is that we're gonna attack 4 monsters in line of sight. What other kind of translocation spells have we found? Teleport other. There's Summon Forest. Lesser Beckoning. Okay, yeah. Let's add this to our shopping list, and then we'll pick it up. We'll pick it up when we can. We'll start spell casting as well. There's no reason to put too much experience into translocations at the moment. But that's a pretty good plan. So we get some big beefy forms. We get Manifold Assault. We get Lesser Beckoning. We get Teleport Other. If we're lucky, we'll get Summon Forest. And summons are pretty reliable. And it's in the same vein of like the kind of thing that this character needs. Even if it's just to be able to run away, you know, but like to cast something that can tank a hit or two. It's pretty valuable when you have reduced HP compared to beefier races. So this Guardian Serpent, this is actually the first one we found in the Snake Pit. And they have this great spell, right? They have a creative person writing the spell descriptions. I'm being a little facetious here because I'd much rather it tell you what it does than have some sort of thematic name. But Blink Allies Encircling, we definitely don't want to fuck with that. And I would say, if we had the fortune of finding Irradiate, then I would do that instead of Manifold Assault. Hands down. But we haven't found Irradiate, and do we even have it anywhere? No. And our Call Merchant is 1,600 gold. So we're probably not going to use that ever again. So that's why we're going to go Translocation. It might be a good idea to read a Scroll of Silence, because it could be bad. Do the allies for Guardian Serpent have to be in line of sight? Yes. So I'm not that worried. We're gonna one-shot it. But there are other enemies that will kind of blink enemies close, and they don't rely on line of sight. So the vault guards are one of them, and there are a few others. There are also some monsters that give you a status that summon powerful monsters next to you. Like the Doom Hounds do that. And it's called Doom Howl. But there's another enemy, I can't think of what it is. So if we had lesser beckoning, it would make fighting things like these sharpshooters easier. We're finding a lot of ice blast charges. I'm gonna wait one more turn for the Nagaraja. And these really ought to be pronounced Nagaraja. It's because Raja is like royal. Raj, royal. But every time I see them I think Nagaraja, but it's not. So really, once you get Dragon Form online and you find yourself really blasting enemies, one thing it's easy to do is to forget that you're still just a small little squishy. The sharpshooter's using portal projectile on us. It's kind of easy to forget that you're actually pretty squishy. So maybe we won't get the manual of translocation. Maybe we get dodging instead. It's just a tough call. Not there yet. But the translocation, like, is it going to help us win or survive? Whereas if we got the dodging, we could get the dodging up to level 20 or so. And as long as we kept putting stuff into decks, like that would mean that our evasion in dragon form could actually get to like 18 or 20, which would help a lot. Kind of hard to say because we still haven't found really that much great gear. I mean, we have found great gear, that's why we're alive, but when I say great gear, I'm mostly thinking amulet and 2 rings, and we have 1 amulet and ring that are pretty decent. They may end up being endgame, but oh well. Man, these enemies keep coming. This is a little dangerous. So we'll Condenser Vein, which ends up looking like the right thing to do. The sharpshooter is standing there and like blocking the other enemies. So while everybody's cold, we're also going to ice blast them, and this is making pretty quick work of this pack. That felt like a pretty good move. Well, can you believe that? We cleared Snake 3. Snake 4 the end of Snake, and really the end of a lot of branches. Sometimes there are these really nasty things where you go down the stairs and you're right smack in the middle of a bunch of nasty stuff. And there's really no way to know if that's going to happen to us. Let's go back to Snake 1, and let's make sure that we clear it. I don't want to, like, forget that we left something undone. Leaving Roxanne undone is fine, because they're highly likely to kill us. Even though we have good evasion, there's just no upside, it's just a little experience. You know, unless there happens to be an item or something hidden here, but... yeah, we're not gonna risk it. So let's see. What we could do, we could go back to Shoals. It's been getting pretty dangerous, and the thing about Dragon Form is that it tanks our evasion, and that kind of makes it more dangerous. We don't really have an answer for that. You know, our answer right now is... yeah, I think we probably need, like, Manifold Assault or something, because there's so many, like, polearm users and javelin users. We probably need Manifold Assault for that. We're gonna stop spellcasting at 9, and then we're gonna focus Translocation. So for now, we're not gonna go back into the Shoals. Elf, we really need to be careful about Resist Electric. Now we do have that Resist Electric ring we could buy. But my last few characters, we didn't have the ring. We didn't have Resist Electric. And we ended up being okay. And I think what's going to help us a lot more than that, Resist Electric, even though the 4 evasion is super nice, what I think is going to help us more is to pick up one of these manuals. We're very, very limited on jewelry slots, and it is a nice ring, don't get me wrong, but I want to at least clear Elf before deciding on purchasing a second ring. Because we purchased our amulet, we purchased our first ring that we're wearing now. So I think we can probably take the Elven Halls. The Hall of Blades might be kind of tough. All the dancing weapons will be kind of tough, because we don't really have a good way of hitting them. We have our Wand of Light, and we have Ice Blast, and maybe that'll help. Previously we had a Radiate. So let's go ahead and check out what the Orcish mines look like. We had some sort of exclusion or something over here. We had a ghost, and then what is this down here? Yorgrun? Yeah, I mean, they can do a lot of damage to us. They can petrify us. We don't have much willpower. Yeah, there's probably a good reason why we left that excluded. We can probably take... Nah, I don't want to take a Morning Star of Chaos. If we can help it. Alright, so that answers the question about Orc 1. And let's take a peek in the Elven Halls. And And then if it's super bad, then we know that we'll have to proceed further elsewhere. But it doesn't look too bad. What the heck? So we're going to peek around a little bit more. One thing I always try to remember, especially when there's only one upstairs like this, on the first level of a branch, when we explore around and we start to get kind of far away, let's bring it back towards the entrance, so we're not too far away. Not many elves. That makes me think they're all grouped up together, and that it's going to be really dangerous when we do see them. Yeah, like here's a pack of at least 2. And then one thing that's actually quite dangerous are these Zephyrmancers. We don't have resist electric. Lightning bolt can do 3d16, and Elf is full of these little hallways. We do have a single potion of resistance, and we don't have any source of resist electric. So we need to make sure to not be alone with those Zephyrmancers. Okay, this is super bad. If we didn't already use our fear, now would probably be a good time to use that. The Deep Elf Knight has been hitting us with big spells. The Archer. I didn't realize that the Archer did like 40 or 50 damage a hit. So that's kind of my bad. Blinking is less good because of our reduced line of sight, but it will instantly take us out of line of sight. And considering the Archer can kill us in 2 hits, which means if the Deep Elf Knight gets a good hit, and the Archer gets a good hit, and the Zephyrmancer shoots something, I think we really just have to blink. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to blink as far away as we can, and if the Knight hastes themselves, I guess that changes our plan. But we have pretty good stealth, so maybe they'll forget about us? Question mark? I think we'll be okay. We're gonna swap out of dragon form, and the main reason to do that is because it basically halves your regen. And it's not that it halves your regen, it's that when you shift out of dragon form, you retain the same percentage health. So when you have a lot of health, the regen doesn't increase your percentage much in dragon form. So the Elven Halls, that's kind of scary. I think we can still go back, and I think we can pick them off, and we'll be okay if we pick them off. So let's try and do that just a little bit longer. And just to kind of remind ourselves what we're doing right now. What we're doing is we're trying to get some experience into translocations so that we can pick up Manifold Assault. We're also getting a little bit of spell casting. We're actually nowhere close to Manifold Assault at the moment. It's at like 50%, and we're gonna have to get translocations up probably to like 10. We actually are pretty close to get a manual for it. Like, we need 2 more gold, and I think that's probably the best thing for us to do at the moment. The Manifold Assault would have helped us in that prior situation. Well, we really just shouldn't have gotten into it. We were just talking about, you know, not being overwhelmed and stuff like that, and then we got overwhelmed. But we need to get something that'll help, and I don't think this character, you know, like if we had the choice between maybe 3 to 5 extra evasion, or we get Manifold Assault, Teleport Other, Lesser Beckoning. I think those utility spells plus the damage potential of Manifold Assault are going to outweigh it. It may not really be a dichotomy like that, because ultimately I think we'll do both, but it's like right now what's going to have the most benefit. Manifold Assault also gives us some ability to attack enemies that maybe are behind others. I'm thinking specifically about the end of Elf. So I know that song. Do you know that song? This song means that it's the end of the stream for right now. And you know what? We did not die. We very nearly died a few times. We've exhausted a bunch of our resources. We nearly died chasing after an ice cave. We had to use a Scroll of Fear for that. And then we foolishly ran towards the entrance, got almost overwhelmed again, and we had to teleport away. In the Elven halls just now, we had to use one of our 2 remaining Scrolls of Blinking, which is not great, but we have gotten ourselves a huge achievement this run. We got ourselves Dragon Form unlocked. Our early finds in the dungeon enabled us to train our unarmed combat. It's been off since, like, Lair. We turned it off, focus transmutations, and I think we're turning this character around, but we have to remember that in Dragon Form, we have about as much HP as other races. Like, we have 169 HP right now. Dragon Form, as a demigod, you're like well over 300 by the end of the game, well over 350. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I did just put the last segment of our very first streak, the Demigod Transmuter. I put it up on YouTube, so you can visit my Twitch channel if you want to watch stuff while I'm not streaming. There's 13 hours of our whole run. So anyhow, thanks for watching. Peace to everybody.